two-time world champion, one of my favorite peoples. He gave me a knife, so he will forever be in my heart because weapons
We
are.
should also mention he's in the army.
Yes.
Mhm.
You guys might have remember him for that viral moment that happened at Rio where the U.S. national anthem was going on and he was running down the runway with his pole and he stopped and stood at attention. But he tested positive for COVID in his daily test. And so he is out of competition. He is the bronze medalist from bronze medalist
Okay, to not tell you, Rio.
from Rio. And also an Argentine pole vault, Jermaine Chiavigalio, is also positive with COVID. So due to the regulations, Sam will be out of competition because he competes on the 31st, and when you have a positive test, you have to go into at least 7 days of isolation. So
We did all of that research on like the isolation and stuff. Are they still testing them throughout
so
the isolation process?
so what will happen is if you test positive in that daily test, how yesterday we talked about the athletes spitting in the vial, then if you get a positive test from there, then you go to getting a PCR test, which is a more accurate test. If you then get another positive test, you get like that nose swab that goes all the way to your brain, and
Which doesn't even have to go up into your brain, but
but
that's
and then from there, if you are positive, you go into isolation. So then you're moved to a hotel that is guarded by the Japanese government. You're in isolation for 7 days. You get your meals delivered to you, and you have to be in there for 7 days.
at minimum.
At minimum, you might be able they will administer a test to you on the 6th and 7th day, and you might be able to be released early if you get a negative test. But if not, you can be in there for a maximum of 10 days. In and in that we're
Just
talking.
one is Cecilia. Yes,
So he's
he is out.
because his competition starts tomorrow. I mean, on the 31st, and he has to be in isolation for 7 days. And we talked about mental health. The U.S. medical staff is calling athletes that are in isolation every single day to check in to make sure their mental well-being is okay, because obviously you're taking a huge blow by your Olympic dreams being shattered, and then you're immediately put to be by yourself to just deal with that. Also, if you are in close contact, and close contact is defined by you were with someone for more than at least 15 minutes without mask within 3 feet of each other.
Mhm.
If you are in close contact with someone who is tested positive for COVID, you will be put into close contact, which means that you'll be moved into quarantine for 14 days, which means you can still be eligible to compete and train, but you will be moved into a hotel to quarantine, and you will go under a modified training protocol, which means that you can go to training, but instead of going on the team bus, you will get a driver that is wearing an N95 mask, and you go to training, and you can only be around people who are necessary. Basically, you're only necessary for your training. So basically, only your coach who is masked can be around you. And when you're in the hotel, your meals will also be delivered to you. So that's what's happening. I know that
I'm curious, like, why there's so many cases happen. Like, and I mean, so many. We're seeing yesterday, not confirmed yet, but we're hearing 3 positive tests. We know of one other than Sam, who's also in the pole vault. But like, with all the protocols in place, with all the preventative measures, with everyone knowing what's at stake, how is it still possible to get COVID? Do we know where the COVID is coming from in the village? I would feel like everyone would hope that the village itself is the bubble, right?
Well, like they really didn't have time to do a full bubble like basketball, and it's also like it's an international event. And also, yesterday Tokyo recorded its 3rd straight day of record daily cases of COVID, and neighboring prefectures to Tokyo, including Osaka, have been added to state of emergency measures. And so teams are also doing their own thing to implement protocols. For example, the Australian track and field team, they're on quarantine.
I'm not even mad at it.
Yeah, they were told to go to their room and
stay there.
Stay there with their mask on in the room by
I'm not even
and
mad at it.
they're get like I have someone on Techo, she said they're having people deliver meals to the people who are under quarantine. And so she was like, oh, I saw there was to-go plates and I tried to get one. And they said, no, you have to like have a reason to have a to-go plate, AKA you're bringing a meal to an athlete in quarantine.
Wow.
Yes.
But so as an athlete, I personally feel like, and I've been like, I said it before, like COVID, like, I was like, Kori, you vaccinated? Otherwise, you need to have a mask on.
And I stay with my mask in these streets.
Same. Even when the CDC said, like, you don't have to wear it, which now they're ordering us to wear it indoors, vaccinated or not. But anywho, like, as an athlete who's waited 5 years for this moment, like, I'm torn because it's like you want to enjoy the Olympic experience. And it just feels like every step of the way, the experience is being, tainted and taken away. So like you've got to be quarantining, even if you've taken every precaution. Now you every athlete there has to be like paranoid, like, because if I get this thing, I'm out.
Yeah. And Sam came, he did an Instagram post where he basically explained what happened to him and that he's out, and he was expressing his
He also explained that he took two negative tests before getting on the plane, one since getting there, and then I think it was his 4th test that came back positive, and then I'm assuming had to go through that PCR thing.
Yeah.
And I mean the testing, we can talk about that because
Yeah. But basically, he was imploring that the 4th place at trials, Matt Ludwin, take his place.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there will be time
possible
to get him over there and get him tested and go through all the protocol, because they have to self-isolate for. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I was getting ready to say it is possible in the sense that in 2007 in the men's hurdles, I don't remember exactly what happened, why David Payne was allowed to come over, but we had someone go down, whatever it was, someone in the top 3 went down. David Payne flew to Osaka, actually.
Oh, it says, look here, he's trying to make it to Tokyo ASAP.
Yes.
Because here's the thing.
Wait, let me finish.
Stay ready, you ain't gotta get
be
ready.
So that's my point, because David Payne got to Osaka the day before competition and came home with a medal. So it's possible. I'm happy to see this. Thank you, team, for answering our question and having this ready for us.
Shout out to our team.
Shout out Ludwig. Safe travels and good luck.
So there's drama on that end with COVID, and then on the other end, there's more drama with some teams not being able to have athletes compete due to
insufficient drug testing.
Yes.
I mean, each country, each athlete is required to have, and we're speaking for track and field. We don't know what other sports do, but I imagine it's a similar standard. You have to have a certain number of drug tests that year before going into the World Championships and the Olympics. And we've talked about this before when we talked a bit about anti-doping, that your federation makes sure that the athletes have a certain number of tests before entering the village. And so we talked about, sometimes you kind of see you get tested more when you're getting closer to nationals or when it's time to leave, but you know that there is a standard that has to be met. And unfortunately, some athletes may be ousted from the games because their federation did not ensure that they had the necessary tests.
Yeah, so the AIU declared 20 athletes from 7 countries ineligible for the games because they didn't meet minimum testing requirements under Rule 15. 3 of
come on with the official rules.
Look,
we did our homework, okay?
3 of those countries, 3 of those 7 countries are Morocco, Kenya, and Ethiopia, and they are on the WADA Category A watch list. So that's also something to consider, that like you guys should be extra vigilant because you know that you're having scrutiny, and then so you need to make sure. So you need to make sure your athletes are getting tested. Of those 20 athletes, 10 of them are Nigerian, and they're banned from competition.
Has that been official? Are they officially banned?
From what I've seen, they're officially banned. And what's crazy is that all of those 10 athletes are in Tokyo right now, and they found out there, and none of them have had a positive test. They just don't have
the
enough
necessary
tests.
tests. Yeah.
So the Nigerian Federation bears complete responsibility on this because it's up to them to make sure that their athletes get tested. How these athletes kind of felt the cracks is that a lot of these athletes are US based athletes and in the collegiate system, and the NCAA testing do not comply with WADA standards.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the athletes who had a hope for a medal chance, one of which is Ruth Osoro. She's the indoor and outdoor NCAA champion in the triple jump, and she has been declared ineligible because she was in that US system. They assumed that the NCAA testing would be sufficient, and it wasn't. And Blessing
Obakari.
You can talk about her.
Blessing Obakari, sorry. She's a top sprinter, medal contender. She is eligible to compete, but she did tweet yesterday criticizing the Nigerian Federation. And she's been critical of the Nigerian Federation for a number of things, but this is just the last thing to add to the list of where Nigeria, and we could say Nigeria,
and
has
she's
dropped
one of their
the
biggest
ball.
And she's one of their biggest stars, probably one of their biggest hopes for a medal. We've talked about her
she
before.
ran 10:63 this year.
Can we pull up that can we just pull up and like focus on the tweet that she actually put?
The tweet that was up before this one.
Where she basically was saying, like, look, you have athletes, because it's one thing to be like, you missed a test. It's another thing to say, like, I didn't get test orders, and I can't order tests because it has to be spontaneous.
Right.
And now I don't get to compete in the Olympics, and like I'm supposed to be representing you. Like, like your job is to make sure I can represent your country. Like, that's your whole job as a federation, is to make sure your athletes are taken care of.
Yeah.
I think it's insane that athletes' dreams are getting taken away off something completely out of their control that is completely preventable, and they're going to miss out on money, opportunity. Like, you're trained all of this, and you lost off of someone's what's the word I'm looking for? Negligence, exactly.
I feel awful for these athletes that are being affected by this, but I'm the one that always brings the I don't even know what to call it, but if I were one of the athletes on the other team,
in incompetence, you're right,
in competition, that knows that, yes, incompetence, thank you, that knows that, like, I've done everything that I'm supposed to do, I've taken all of my tests, I don't know that I would want to compete against the athletes who haven't met the requirements that the rest of us have had to meet. So it's really a double-edged sword. I think the Nigerian athletes definitely should hold their federation accountable for this. But also, we've said it time and time again, the rules are the rules. And unfortunately, they will have to miss out on this because we have to advocate for a clean and fair sport. So, oh, come on, Bob. Blessings has 21 Olympic, World, and African Championship medals.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
And I just feel like I would be irate. I would, if I was in their place, I would burn. I'm burning all of Tokyo down. Like, absolutely not. I'm going to Nigeria, and someone's going to have to pay. Like, someone's got to answer for this. Like, I know I'm not supposed to promote violence, but in this case, I am, because what in the act? No. Like, I'm an advocate for athletes. I just, like, it's your job. Like, do your job. Okay, so it's gonna be pushed back.
Okay.
So we'll talk about Rock Nation.
That's what I'm trying to.
I need to take a breath.
Cecilia, also, thank you. We really took our time to. This one was up. I went to sleep.
I was up. I'm on 3 hours of sleep,
but
guys.
She really took her time to do her research. I did a little bit, but she she was in on the things. I was like, I need my sleep.
Well, things were like I was getting ready for bed, and then things started popping up because like the time changed, and so I just was like, well, I gotta be ready for tomorrow. I want to bring y'all
The
the
accurate
tea.
tea. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna move things around a little bit because our
It's fine.
guest needs a little bit of time. It's fine. So we're gonna talk about Rock Nation.
So
First of all, let me just
first of
say,
all, time out. Like I just because I'm tired. I need to just take a break. I need to all pop it. Today's flavor
yes,
is vintage cola. It is the morning, and we're
yes.
we're having our probiotics because I'm tired, y'all, and not because I didn't get any sleep last night. Because
Because you didn't get no sleep last night.
I know I came in here on 10
But
as
you're
a.
always on 10.
Imagine if I had coffee in my life. Imagine if I ingested
I
caffeine.
don't want to imagine that. Hey, happy birthday, Aisha. Team
Celia
Leo,
said y'all
gang,
need to get
gang.
paid for this. I'm just gonna do my daily plug. Send a black woman some money today. It doesn't have to be us. Just
Cash App, Venmo, Quick Pay.
no, I'm tired because I love my sport and I love the people that are in my sport, and it like even though my Olympic dreams are over, I still want the best for the athletes out there because I know personally like what
it takes to get there.
yeah, and I know what they've sacrificed, and like and it's like dang, like COVID, like it's one thing if like okay you get kicked out because you're cheating or you aren't good enough, but like
your own negligence.
Because
for things that are out of your hands.
but like yeah, to like this pandemic, this virus that is stopping that not only delayed these dreams but are also just taking dreams off the table. To see like people just not doing their jobs, and it's costing people their dreams. It's hurtful, and I'm like I'm not an emotional person, you know that, but I'm like I got a little something where my heart should be. And I can only imagine what these athletes are feeling because like it's like dang, like if it was because I wasn't good enough, okay, but or if it's because I messed up, all right, but
I think then also add that these athletes are already in Tokyo and in Tokyo by themselves with no family, with no, yeah, you're there with your teammates, but like.
All right, let's just talk about how some athletes that I'm like y'all done got into Tokyo.
Listen, so Aisha actually asked me yesterday about Rock Nation, and honestly, when she sent me the message, I was like, "Rock Nation, like, what is Jay-Z doing there?" Seriously. But honestly, before that, I did see some Russian athletes in the gymnastics, and I was like, I'm confused. I am confusion. Why and how is Russia there if they're banned? And we'll get into the details of the loopholes and such, but is it fair that they're there? Because I see both sides where there was this statewide run doping machine.
And can we break that
was
down
sponsored
a little bit?
by the state of Russia.
Like, can you imagine if our president was like, let's get drugs into our athletes so that we can show the dominance of the United States of America?
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what Russia did.
Basically. But if I, as the athlete, was not involved in that, should I be penalized for that? As the athlete, as the personal athlete, as the individual athlete, I feel like no.
So
as the American athlete, I'm like, huh?
Someone's asking to explain because they don't understand the Russia situation. Can you break that down?
So it was basically a state-sponsored doping ring where essentially, as Kori said, the president, Putin, was basically like, whatever we got to do to get these medals, including cheat, we gonna do. So it was stuff like actually using performance enhancing drugs. It was stuff like switching out urine. And it was so intricate and detailed and planned out that the testing people were in on it. Like they were the ones switching out the pee. And so everyone from the president, coaches, staff, they were in on it.
And if you want a real breakdown, like there's a film I think it's still on
Is it
Netflix.
Icarus?
Icarus. It is like it gave
On
me
that,
chills
well,
watching
we're
it.
not giving plugs, but yes, watch the film Icarus.
And it breaks down because like so for example, we talk about testing and when you get tested, you pee in a cup and then you pour the cup into these glass bottles. The glass bottles have lids that you have to turn like
A
twist
machine
on.
has to open them. It's
If
that.
you twist, you can't. You twist it on, but you cannot twist it off. And a machine has to take it off. But the way the machine takes it off, they break the top. So there's no way to open it and like re-put it on.
Mhm.
And there is a like specific number on the top, so you can't even like replace it with a new top because the number has to match the bottle. So it's very hard. Basically, what happened was like it was at the what's the Winter Olympics that Russia had?
Sochi.
They had like a lab in the so they had it like this
At
back
the
door.
Olympics,
They
they're
had this
doing
backdoor
this.
lab where they had like Russian athletes like, hey, we know if this athlete gets tested, they're gonna get popped. So they had this lab that like basically they created their own machine that they were like replacing the urine and then putting back the top. It was very intricate. So what's happening now is that you have these athletes who are able to Russian athletes who say like,
Hey, I wasn't a part of that.
yeah,
I shouldn't be punished
and
for
so
that.
they were able to prove that they were clean, not a part of that. And so there's 335 Russian athletes competing in Tokyo as neutral athletes, so they can compete, but they can't represent their country. They can wear like Russian colors, but it's like it's funny because we call them like they're not representing Russia, but we call them Russian neutral athletes. But they can't play their national anthem. But if a Russian athlete was to win, they're playing a symphony by a Russian composer.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
So it's yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand because if they're gonna serve a band, then shouldn't they serve a band? But then I also understand if I wasn't involved in that, then I shouldn't be penalized for that. And but I guess where my issue is
Not to
okay.
say that dude is fired. The composer.
Um if the athletes are going to be allowed to compete, then I don't feel like we should see anything that says Russia. We shouldn't see a flag. We shouldn't see like if they're neutral.
There's no they're not allowed to fly their flag.
But you're in Russian colors,
and
like they should be competing in black.
They had to change their uniforms because it had like a bear which represented Russia. And I get it because if like y'all are out here doing mess and I'm clean and I'm like, but yeah, they should basically be
the name should not. Aisha, I agree. The name should not include the country's name.
Yeah, because it's like, and here's the thing: is it was funny because I was reading this article I think by CNN, and they were basically saying like Russia stays changing their name, so like they've been the Soviet Union, they've been you know all these. So like, what's it? Especially if it's like the Russian what is it called? Olympic Committee.
Cecilia said, my thing is, if it's so widespread, I don't know how you can feel comfortable with 300 plus saying out of everyone in our country, we're clean and high level. Come again?
Yes, and so 10 of those athletes are track athletes. I've been doing my research, but I did not get the names and the events of those 10 athletes. But if y'all want it, I'll go find it. And I think that it's like there's always going to be that level of doubt because how do you prove that you weren't cheating? Like the whole point is to when you cheat, it's not get caught. Like maybe they were just, and I'm not saying the 10 athletes that are competing are dirty. I'm just saying
the shadow of doubt.
The shadow of doubt exists, and I feel like it's all Russia is still out. Russia is still being represented in the Olympics, and they have a ban.
Ooh, Aisha, this is a good one. They also should not be allowed to compete as a team for their medals to count in team medal count.
Does their team? Is it?
Apparently, there is a medal because I mean ROC, and they're gonna have like the medal count is the thing. When we're in the village, like that's literally like the thing between countries. Like we're at such and such number of medals. Like.
And that was the whole point. It's like they wanted to show Russian dominance. That's why they did this whole program. And more than 100 athletes in Rio were banned. Mm-hmm. More than 100 athletes in Rio were banned. And
I don't agree with it. I don't.
Yeah. And so apparently the Russians' flag and anthem will not be played at an Olympics until the 2024 games in Paris.
That's just in 3 years. That's not
Well,
because
yeah,
their ban was also reduced. So
yeah, which I also found yeah, because last year the Court of Arbitration of Sport cut Russia's ban in half to 2 years following an appeal, and I just don't understand, like, because
make it
how do
make
you,
sense.
how do you like lessen a sentence for a whole country that like deliberately cheated and on such a egregious wide scale, but then like
So much so that your government, your president was involved in it. Like, that's deep. If you really think about it,
no, I
like that is
it's insane.
deep.
It's insane, and I feel like what does reductions prove? Like the whole point of the ban is to deter countries from doing this, and I'm not saying that the athletes who are there in Tokyo shouldn't get to compete. I just don't feel like Russia should be represented
Mentioned
in any way.
in
I
any
feel like it should
capacity.
be black uniforms or maybe a rainbow because y'all representing the world right now. Just like you,
We
or you
are
out,
the world.
and like, or maybe instead of Russia, you just have your name on your chest because you out here for you and no country. But you should be done for decades. Like, because here's the thing, like, it's funny because I'm like, yeah, because Russia, like, I feel like Russia's always been such a powerhouse in the Olympics, and but it's like
they are.
But of course they are.
It's always, especially like in gymnastics and track and field. It's always.
But of course
thank
they
you for
are.
the medal count. Yeah.
Of course they're a powerhouse.
We're
If they're
always
cheating,
it's always the United States, China, and Russia.
And there's
look, ROC is in there.
Oh shoot, and they're already at 25 medals. But my thing is, of course, Russia's such a powerhouse if they're cheating, and so my thing is, we don't need to have Russia in the Olympics. There's
ain't
so
about
many
me,
countries.
but I'm about to make it about me.
Make it about
in
you.
2013,
come on,
we placed second in the we placed second and I placed fifth in the 400. So second in the 4x4 and fifth in the 400. I'm now a fourth place finisher and a gold medalist on the relay. I can't get that moment back. Like, we were bashed for having sour faces, because here's the other thing, right? They were just banned, but we all there's always whispers, there's always rumors, but it was finally proved. So, we're on the podium and we're disappointed because excellence is the bare minimum. We didn't win.
Because when it comes to Team USA relays, like, if they don't get and I haven't been on one relay team for Team USA.
Excellence is the standard.
Because I remember I was talking to Allison, and I think she was on a relay team with like a bunch of young girls, and they got silver and they were excited. And Allison was like,
"No, we here to win."
That don't fit right. So,
but we were really like dragged over the coals, only for a couple years later for Russia to be disqualified. And then at the World Championships in 2017, they had like this little consolation medal ceremony that, like,
who cares?
And the thing about it was, they had to have several medal ceremonies because so many athletes were disqualified because of this ring. So there's so many layers to this. And when you did your medal, sit back and be like, oh, but there were some athletes who were possibly clean. But then when you think about the moments and the impact of such a cheating scandal, a cheating ring on the other athletes, like, it's like we were on the podium in 2013, sour face, and then in 2017 I'm supposed to get up there and smile, but it's like, but no, like.
Here's all I'm saying is Russia, it gets to be a team, whether they are their ROC, Russia's in the name,
and got 25 medals right now. Like, and yet you should not be acknowledging.
And yet there's Nigerian athletes in Tokyo knowing that they don't get a chance to compete because they're federated. It's just like, make it make sense. Like, I know bad things happen to good people, but I'm just like, we're rewarding cheaters while people who have never tested positive are not going to be able to compete, and not because of anything. And it just, y'all know, I am for the athlete at all times, and I just feel like this whole thing is shady boots. It's shady boots.
I don't agree with it. I try to give like the level-headed, like, but I don't think Russia should be there, period. ROC or not. I think if the country is banned, they should be banned. Sorry to the athletes who were clean.
Sorry to that man.
But
And we're
I
not
think
saying ban
about
them athletes. We're just saying, like, they don't get to have a medal count. Like, they don't get to beat Russia. It's just
I don't even know if I'm saying that.
well, for me, because I always put myself. I like to be devil's advocate and put myself in other people's shoes. So I feel like you should be like, if I was a Russian athlete, I would be out here, Corey Carter competing for Corey Carter, and that's it.
That's what to me. That's what it should be. If it's going to be anything at all, that like, if you're neutral, you're neutral. But we're acknowledging Russia. Liam wants to be a part of the show again.
The only ROC being acknowledged is Dame and Hose.
I'm telling you.
Period.
When I got that message, I was like,
I don't know why my picture's up on the screen right now, but I will say that like that moment was so big for me when I won Worlds, and that's why we do. I feel like and it wasn't because I got to stand on the podium and listen to my national anthem. It was because I actually did my whole victory lap outside the track because I didn't know where my family was, and so I was just looking in the stands to find my mom, and like there's a picture of I'll find it and I'll maybe if I put it up on a different, but like my mom's like my mom's picked me up. My mom is tiny and she's picking me up, and like that's the moment, and they stole that from you. They stole that moment from over 100 athletes, because 100 athletes are banned, you know. Mm-hmm. And this is almost my and it's just like you don't get to hold your mom in the stadium in that moment and be like, I'm a champion. I'm a medalist.
Right. Because that's really what the moment is. The victory lap, the money afterwards.
I don't know, like between Sam getting COVID, between the Nigerian athletes not being able to compete, between Russia, I'm ready to fight someone. I've never been in a fight in my
Which is interesting because that mouth of yours, I don't know how, but
I know, right? But like for some reason people either like me or like I don't know, but I want to get in a fight. Okay, because here's the thing. Like I do have a mouth on me, and like, you know, when you're in an argument, you're like, maybe I am the one and I should diffuse the situation. Or maybe I have hands and like I can just run my mouth.
We're not promoting violence. We are grown.
I've been taking Krav Maga classes, so if anyone wants to try me, I'm ready.
You've been taking what?
Krav Maga. Because when I didn't make the Olympic team because of injury, I have a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of emotions that I already told you I do not acknowledge or deal with.
You haven't gone to Krav Maga. Did I say that right?
I haven't gone to Krav Maga in like a week because of the show.
Yeah, we need to get you back in class because.
So I've been. It's a really good energy release, and like.
We can go downstairs and do some boxing.
Yeah, shout out to Lightbox. But
no plugs.
Well, they sponsor you.
They do.
So you know. But yeah. Maybe they'll sponsor me.
Hey, a Black woman today.
Oh, I'm making sure to say that.
All right.
But yeah, if someone wants to, maybe I can do one of those, like, you know how I'm not a celebrity, but like maybe I can get one of those celebrity boxing matches.
All right, let's bring it on.
Get on Twitter, and can someone start a thread on people you would like to see me fight? I'm ready. I've taken 1 or 2 weeks of training.
Leave me out of it, okay? That's all, Corey. That ain't
It's not about being paid. I just want to like see if I can
monster.
Do it. But basically, what I'm saying is, like, if you guys have some like people that are like, hey, this would be a good fight. I just want to know if I have hands. I've never been in a fit. Well, I have been in one fight in my life. I fought my sister Kelly.
That doesn't count.
But listen, here's the thing is my dad was like, he was like, y'all are arguing over nothing. Move the table. 3 rounds, let's go. My sister Kelly's 6 years older than me, and like
wait, your dad set the fight up?
Yes. And here's the thing, like the difference between me, 12-year-old, and my 18-year-old sister was vastly different. But I'm crazy. So I thought I had a chance. And my sister's not really taking the fight seriously. And I got one good punch in on her. And my dad said he saw like something go off of my sister, and he was like, ding, 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 ding. because he was like, that was the day Kori was going to die. And he thought that we weren't going to take it seriously and was like, Dad, this is ridiculous. We're going to, settle our differences. Not realizing that the women he had raised are about that life. Yes, Gemini energy.
My little guy had a problem. All right, so we're moving things around since what time's our first guest?
It's at 10:45. That's why I've been rambling about fighting people.
Well, then let's talk about the other topic that we thought we were going to table until tomorrow.
I feel like we don't have. He's coming on in 5 minutes.
Oh, is it 5 minutes? Oh,
yeah.
I'm still looking at our time. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
well, let's do this. Let's take some questions because we shot out a lot of things.
What kind of? I feel like I'm a true
5
Gemini.
minutes until our first guest joins us.
I feel like I've done the co-star where like I know, like I've looked at my moon and my rising, but I don't ever remember them. But I feel like I'm like but like in a lot of the houses I'm Gemini in like most of the houses, and then I'm like something different in a couple other. But I'll bring my chart to one of these. Let's do both of our charts.
Oh my God. Okay.
Mercury's
that's Marcus. That's my best friend.
But yeah, I feel like I'm very much a true Gemini in that, like, just as friendly and as nice as I am, because Gemini is the twins. That's how mean I can be. But and like that when you see me switch into the Kori monster, like my little viral thing, that I feel like that's Gemini energy. Like I'm happy, and then I can immediately be like, all right, I'm ready to cut someone. That's the type of energy I have when I'm on the line. We know you're a Leo.
And do you follow any other Olympic events outside of athletics? I follow gymnastics. Don't get me started on like what anybody's names are or anything. I saw something yesterday where like they're talking about moves are now being, instead of like the triple flip, it's like the Yurogavashava or something. Like they're naming moves.
Yurogavashava.
It was a Russian athlete that they were talking. Imagine this, banned, but we're still talking about Russian athletes and doing spotlights on them. But
because they were good at what they were doing. I'm not gonna. I can't hold on at that. Like they were cheating, but it was
Russian gymnastics is like they pick you from like the age of 2 and say like they're going to be a gymnast. We're moving you. I actually, so my college athletic trainer, athletic trainer, she actually works at Cirque du Soleil now. And yeah, she's like their head trainer. She's like big shot. But a lot of their acts are Russian acts. And she told me that a lot of them talked about how like the state would actually take them from their homes to put them into training. Like it was rigorous. And
you know what's funny
from
is
very
like,
early ages.
The type of person I am, like I feel like I would have loved that.
Oh my God.
Just because I'm like, I mean, I love being like a kid, but also like I see myself as like a warrior princess, and like I always wanted to be like, now you're entering training and like just like, and like your life is dedicated to
at like
craft. 5, yeah.
That's insane.
But I also know that I'm not the right. Like, I don't think you should do this for all children. I'm just saying I would have thrived in that. I think I would have thrived in that environment. I love structure and like training. People are gonna be like, Kori's a psychopath, and you were correct.
I feel like there was one more question, and then does that mean Omar is ready to come on? Let me check my producer.
We got 2 minutes. I feel like Omar. Do you see Omar? He needs to wait. I didn't want to leave my home. I just feel like, when you watch ninja movies and they're just like in the academy. I've always been like, one day I will train to be not a gymnast, but like a warrior.
Omar is here.
Okay,
we'll bring him up in a second. Yes, athletics heats start tonight for us, but over in Tokyo it is Friday already.
So tonight?
Yeah. So we got to stay up and watch tonight.
Oh, but the finals is because I was like, we have to have our board, and I don't have that ready. I have something planned for y'all, but like, give me a second.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and bring up Omar. I just clicked on him, right?
No, it doesn't work for us. But they'll
It
bring him in.
doesn't?
Yeah, but like before they bring him, can we play this clip? Because I love
Hopefully
Omar's.
we can play it. There we go.
Yeah, the bunnies, little boosties. Okay, we gotta stop it.
Oh, sorry. All right.
So, so, if y'all don't know who's in the building, it's Omar Craddock, aka Omar Goodness, aka
Daddy.
Omar is a skater. He specialized in the triple jump. He's a Pan Am gold medalist. He has made, how many teams have you made, Omar?
A lot.
4.
Four of them
like
things. You're a bronze junior medalist. You won in 2013. He was the U.S. national champion. You won 1 indoor, 2 outdoor NCAA titles. Like,
Okay.
you got a little resume.
Wasn't there a Florida sweep in there somewhere?
It was up in there somewhere, 2015, you know.
The Florida boys,
Florida Gators be hopping.
they be jumping. Like,
Hey, who would have known a gator could jump, right? On land like that. Hello.
like boosties. Let me just tell you, here's the thing. He's eating because Omar stays cooking up some abs. Let me tell you something about that.
Hey, you
But
better believe that.
one of my favorite people. He always just has like good energy, good vibes. I've never seen someone as positive.
Always happy, always positive.
And like you are, for lack of a better word, a specimen. Like your jump videos are always amazing to me. Your ab videos are always. I'm like, how the heck? I've tried to do a couple of like the hanging ones that you've done. I've tried to do a couple of your ab stuff. I ain't got the floor like that. I gotta work. I'm doing Jessica's beginner Tummy Tuesdays. I'm gonna dance, and then I'm gonna come on over to Market this. But how are you? Welcome to Charcoal Summer.
Well, thank you. I'm amazing. I actually just moved into a new place, so everything I set up, normally I'll have a nice background, kind of how like y'all got it popping. But I just moved into a new place, so we're just trying to get it all together right now.
Yeah. But I appreciate you wanting to bring a vibe and aesthetic because you know how we like to do here.
Yeah, you got to be ready for that. And you see, I got my Goodness Hour shirt on because it's Goodness Hour coming up soon. So,
can you explain to our fans what the Goodness Hour is?
So when I left college, I always had a passion for just obviously fitness. That's why my core, as you mentioned, is something that I guess I specialize in. But in the US, like a lot of people are typically not in the gym, right? We have like one of the highest obesity rates, and so I just love fitness, and I just truly believe, I guess the philosophy behind Goodness Hour is if you give yourself an hour at max, and at the minimum 30 minutes of true work, fitness work, walking, running, actual gym work, you will reach those fitness goals you want. And so that's why I created Goodness Hour. And then the second half of it was for obviously to bring people along the journey to make the Olympic team, but circumstances happen and I'm not there. But yeah, that's really the premise behind it all.
Let's play that video of Omar so people can like really get into it.
Yeah, I was listening to Omar. No, I didn't even see a new video pop up. My bad. I'm not on my job.
I got you. We a team.
Big team action.
How do you see the distance he is covering?
Probably jumped over 2 or 3 of me.
So first of all, can you just
out of the pit?
Jumping out the pit. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. I need that as a soundbite, okay?
put me on one of your albums. Let me do the ad libs, okay? Let me get into
like that. You one of my favorite on Instagram. I'm telling you, every time your questions of the days or whatever it is, it's pure entertainment. I love it.
Stop. We're here to talk about Omar. And first of all, let's just talk about triple jump, because one of the things we like to do is break down track and field, so you don't have to be an expert. Okay, so it's a hop, skip, and I struggle because I feel like I'm a coordinated person, and I know there are two events that I will never try, and it's triple jump and hammer throw. But can you just explain to people? I feel like hammer throw I would die. Can you explain to people how you just the progression, the phases of triple jump?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's a hop, it's a step and then a jump. I I remember when I first started, my middle school coach was like, Omar, you look like you could triple jump. You jump twice on one leg, switch to the other, and land in the pit. And that's exactly how it was explained to me. So you can only imagine. I pogo sticked it, right? And I landed in the pit further than everybody on the team, and then from then it just kind of took off. But yeah, it's a very sacrosanct event, you know.
So I have a phrase because I felt like when I started hurdling, it was love at first flight. Would you say it was love at first flight for you?
Definitely, hey, definitely. Because like I said, I was whooping some tail. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first did it, I think I just destroyed my teammates by like 4 feet. And just like y'all can relate as
So y'all
competitors.
even
No,
destroyed.
y'all can relate because like we like to win, and so I'm beating my teammates. I'm like, oh, I'm the best. Nobody can touch me. And then everywhere in middle school, I'm like, I'm him. And then this was my first time doing summer track. I'm Craddock now. You know what I'm saying? When I show it, oh, there he is. Oh, that's him. And it just kept going. But long
I want
story.
you to catch that. Timothy Craddock.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it take a lot of patience. It take a lot of you got to have some kind of core stability. You got to be balanced. And then we have to have some kind of speed in there too, right? I think Christian put it best. He said, "Jumpers are sprinters with attitude."
Okay. I feel like hurdlers are sprinters with grace. No shade.
Hello.
But we're just we got another because I just keep the clips of Omar because I just love watching him jump. And
That celebration at the end. I was supposed to play a guitar, but I was getting excited because I'm like, I really just like bounce.
and that's one of the things that I feel like TV does not capture. One of the reasons I love jumps is jumps live is the event. Like y'all put on a show, I feel like y'all have a little brotherhood.
Straight
All
up.
y'all friends, but y'all battle hard, but y'all talk mess the whole time. Y'all include the fans, and she doesn't after that. So I'm glad you're here to so they can get the vibes. But speaking of speed, I feel like you have a very long approach to get your speed up, and so indoors it kind of inhibits you. Can you explain that because of the runway situation?
So many people explain to me that I run more like I'm a quarter miler, not like a sprinter. And I guess because I have long strides. And I'm shorter than most of the elite jumpers. I think Will probably has me by an inch, but Will's limbs are long. You know what I'm saying? But I'm more compact. If I played football, I could definitely be somebody's running back or somebody's safety. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of attributes to it. I understand that I'm more of a power jumper. I'm not a speed finesse guy. So outdoor, it's like, hey, I got all day. Let me build up. Let me be like Sonic. That's what I explain to I guess kids or anybody, from our generation that still doesn't understand track. I'm like, you know how Sonic powers up? That's me. I need to power up. And then by the time I'm in my transition phase, now I can turn over and then boom, there's the board. Indoor, obviously, is short, right?
You have a shorter runway, so Omar doesn't have enough space to really get up to speed like he wants to.
Right,
so
right.
he has what jumpers are called a short approach.
Correct. Yep.
I pretend I'm a jumper.
Hey man, you doing your homework.
I could be a jumper, let me tell you.
You're doing your homework. But yeah, that's it. It's short, and I have to adjust. So.
And speaking of the fan experience, we gotta let them know about Omar literally goes to work, and when I say he goes to work,
Mm.
Omar comes to the track, hard hat on. Y'all think I'm kidding it?
Yeah, it's a video somewhere.
There's a video somewhere. Omar with a literal construction yellow hard hat walking
Yeah.
on. No, it's not. I love this song.
Like wings on the plane. Like wings on the plane.
I want to explain why I find that video so crazy. One,
real quick, I gotta plug in. Rest in peace to my brother Lone Star. That was his song that I played on there, and he from the city of Killeen. And like being that I'm from Killeen, there's not too many of us that make it right. And so since I've made it from Killeen, this is a way that I can keep his music living on. So anybody that heard it, that's in the comments, that's Mr. Lone Star, you can find him on everything. Yeah.
So why I think that's a crazy video is not only are you covering so much ground, you have to be like a hurdler in that your phases are super specific to like you have to land on these platforms, and it's not like a tape on them. It's like you're landing on these platforms, and then you're having all of this momentum that's going horizontal, and then transferring it vertically to go over the hurdles after that. And I'm just like, the athleticism to do what we do.
I'd be scared I'm gonna bust something.
Yes, because like all that last one, he had to reach for it, and then still convert that energy into
Nicole's exceptional body awareness.
Yes.
Yep.
Straight. See, this is another soundbite clip I'm gonna have to take because y'all remember buddy Max Kellerman talking about how track athletes aren't like athletic and all this. We don't have any kind of our dexterity, whatever he was saying.
Track and field is the purest form of athleticism because there's nothing to hide behind. Like
right.
It's like who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who can jump farthest. And the reason we get injured so much is because we're literally testing the limits of our body every time. Every time you go to jump, you're trying your hardest, and like what happens is you either PR or your body breaks down. Like those are the two options.
Right.
But there's so many things about you. Like Omar is a Renaissance man. He's a businessman, he's an activist, he's a jumper, he's a rapper. One of the things I saw that during the pandemic is that you were on the front lines for Black Lives Matter. You were out here protesting. Can you just talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's near to me. Just because growing up where I'm from in Killeen, the first time I was accosted or ran into the police, I was 12 years old, and we were and I mentioned this in the music. Let me back up. The music I create is from a pure place.
Can they find on iTunes, Spotify?
Everywhere you can find music. MISTAOPE, Mr. Opie. From the neighborhood. My granny gave me the name OP, and I'm a man, so it's Mr. You know what I'm saying? So
I should have added that in your AKs. Sorry, for next time. I'm writing it right down right now. AK Mr. Opie.
Yeah. But truth be told, yeah. So it comes from a real place. And I've noticed in I'm gonna just say our lives that there's nothing that changes under the sun. The music that I created in the Red Light Special was music you can hear from past time. Tupac spoke about this. From the likes of Michael Jackson spoke about this. Marvin Gaye spoke about this. And you see how each time frame was different. This was the 70s, 80s, 90s to 2020, right? So it's just continuing to forward the message like, hey, we understand what's going on in this world. We here to survive. You know what I mean? We're leaders. Like you said, activists, we're businessmen, women, mothers, and Natasha. I'm about to be a father. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you.
We have your pregnancy announcement. We'll have that.
No doubt. So yeah, it's just I've always wanted to be like a man, right? And in the sense of, you say what?
What does like being a man mean to you?
Yeah, to me, it's being a leader, a real leader, in the sense of the word, not like some kind of dictator, but somebody that when women look at, they like, oh, that's a man. Like he handling business, he doing what he does, he can
Well, as
protect
a woman, when I look at you, I'm like, that's a man.
100.
Yeah.
And then when the fellas, like even when fellas look to you, whether it's your peer, somebody older or somebody younger, they look at you like, man, I want to be like him when I grow up. Not because of what you're doing outside in the streets, but it's because you are actually being somebody for the people, and you trying to clean up, what's been done wrong. So that's the purpose of anything I do, whether it's in sport, in music, uh, business, period. And I like to refer to myself as a poet rather than a rapper,
Oh yeah,
just
I
because that,
forgot
that,
about
that has a bad connotation. And Tupac is one of my favorite artists, and he was a poet more than he was a rapper.
you know, like a West Coast rapper because I'm a Cali girl.
Hey,
So you were a lot of times on the front lines in protesting, and you're protesting in California and Arizona. Correct
right,
me if I'm
and
wrong.
yeah, and then I went to a Juneteenth event in Texas, so I was everywhere. I
Okay,
was
in
everywhere.
the middle of a parallelogram. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
I actually
Fight,
I actually did go to a protest in Killeen as well, and the same thing. They had a microphone, and I just kind of grabbed the microphone and was like, "Look, we have to we got to go inside. Like I understand the protesting is cool, but we've been doing this for years. Like we really have to get a solidified plan on what we want to do, right? And if it makes sense, it's not like, oh yeah, we just want reparations. This is a rich country. They could someday be like, all right, well, boom, here you go, here's the money. But it was more so of like, hey, let's just get in here. What do we want? We want a family, cool. So in order for us to stop getting killed outside, be with your kids and be with your family. All right, now, well, that's another offline conversation with our peers and people. But that's
No,
just
I,
that's just
we
I
we
think
don't do
that's true
we don't do
because
offline conversations. Just bring it
yeah,
oh,
on.
perfect. Okay.
there's a lot of protests, but I think you're spot on that like we're protesting, but what's the solution? What do we want? And I think a lot of
Yeah.
protesting is missing that.
Because I
So
think get out and people are getting out, and because I feel like anger makes you active, right? So it's like
Right.
you see these atrocities and you want to do something and you don't know what, and you're just like, and you just like, well, let me just at least be out here and like, and
and I think
sometimes
there's something to that too, right?
yeah, like
We
you
all
have to
got
have
to
a
know
release.
our place, and we all got to. And when I say know our place, like there's some of us that there's power in numbers, so we're a part of those numbers. But then
Right.
there's some of us who are leaders who come up with the solutions and the plans, and we follow those leaders with the solutions and the plans. So we all got to know how we fit
Yeah,
into the
but
activism. But the key piece is what is the solution?
yeah, well, I
Let's
feel
not
like,
just get out here and make noise.
well, I think protests are reactionary. So you see something, we
Right.
react to it. But it's like we need to, like how Omar saying, it's like we need to get inside and do the prevention.
Yeah.
It's like instead of like let's yell after the fact, like because
Let's talk to our
when
kids.
when
Let's
the
educate one another. Let's have these
Right.
conversations. Let's
yeah,
get uncomfortable.
because okay, I
Bingo.
don't know about you guys, but like when the Derek Chauvin case happened and he was found guilty, I was still like left with this feeling of like,
Okay.
A
okay,
void. Yeah.
because for me,
We can't bring them back.
I don't like, I want this man in jail because he did something wrong, but what I really want is for George Floyd to be like, for his daughter to like be able to have her dad in her life. Like that's what I want. Like, so like, yeah, this man's locked up, but like that's not the
It doesn't
answer.
solve the problem.
That's not the like,
Right.
like that's a band-aid on the real problem. It's like George Floyd to be alive.
Bingo.
And that's what I'm upset about.
Right.
So
Right.
I love what you're
That's
saying.
exactly what I felt. When that came across, and again, social media, and this is why I kind of had to scale back from social media a bit, is because when you see everyone's reaction, and there it was justice been served, and kind of like you, Kori, I was like, man, this is a band-aid on a wound that will be reopened, and if not in that same spot, it's going to be a deeper cut somewhere else. And I feel even more closer to it because of, again, stepping into fatherhood. I have my own seed now, and that's why I want to lead him in more of a righteous way. You know what I'm saying? And I think, truth be told, I believe that's the way we combat this kind of situation, right? Because we're so conflicted as people.
Can you
Um,
tell us like how? Because I have my ideas, but like I would love to like
yeah, I get.
like how we raise our children is the solution.
Say it one more time. Bring it back.
You think like how you raise your child is part of the solution? Can you just go into that?
Yeah. Well, one, because obviously we getting older, right? And we've had our younger days. As we have kids coming up, the scriptures say that we got to train up a child in the way they should go. So when they're in house, we have to let them know the truth of what's going on. We
Yeah,
can't sugarcoat. You know what I'm saying? We see, obviously the media can manipulate things, they can change things, but we each have a story that can relate. And our children have to know this. So when they go outside, it's no confusion, and it's not for them to hate any person, but it's for them to know like this. These are the things that happened to us. This is the kind of order it went in, and now we have to break this, right?
yeah,
And in order to break it, we have to come back into order.
yeah,
And so, with my brothers, as we congregate, uh, that's the conversation. We talk about how between us as a people, it's like a dissension, right? It's no real balance. It's kind of like this. It's lopsided. Um,
yeah,
what's glorified about us in the media is, what I'm saying, being in the streets or being a rapper, right? And being a rapper now has a bad connotation. Now rapping is all about drugs and all kinds of calamity. We have to bring back again righteousness. And obviously I get my righteousness out the Holy Bible, like really reading it, not just going to a building on a Sunday, listen to a service, and then you back a heathen. We got to actually walk these steps. And I think once we start doing that, that's when we actually gonna see some kind of change. But
yeah.
until then,
Sorry.
until then it's still uneven.
I think it's really sad though because like we have these conversations about like um uh teaching race theory in schools, and it's because like they don't want white children to feel guilt, but it's like we have to rob our children and of their innocence
childhoods.
and tell them like, hey, like this is the reality of like living life as a Black human being in
Right.
order to protect them and keep them alive.
Yeah.
Like it's literally for survival, and you would know
I
that
remember my mom
as
and I having a conversation with my brother because we had him in a school, and I say we because I'm 12 years older than him. But
Right.
he was in a school where he was like one of, as I said, I was, but he's a Black man in Georgia, and we had to explain to him like, hey, when you go out with your friends, if something happens, unfortunately, they're gonna look at you differently. And
Right.
it was disheartening to have the conversation. Also, it was hard because on some level he didn't understand.
yeah,
So we also kind of felt like, oh my goodness, what bubble did we raise him in? And then when it was
Right.
when he got
did
to
we
college and started seeing it for himself and seeing it in the media, that he finally understood it. But those are real conversations that we actually have to have in our households.
and you have a son.
I now have a Black son that I think about, where we currently live. We're the only Black family on the block. Is that where I want my son to grow up? You know?
Right. Right.
And it's not
Right.
even so much about, again, like you said, like we hate other groups, but the importance of seeing ourselves in positive lights and in positive
Right.
positions and doing positive things and being in a positive and uplifting home, being in our children's lives, being there to answer their questions, being there to validate their experiences, all of those things, that it truly does, as you're saying, start at home.
Yeah,
Definitely. Definitely.
but I also feel like what we're doing is trying to protect our children, but like it's crazy because I don't I don't want to seem like a pessimist, but like in reality, there's really nothing like I feel like we
We
get
can have the conversations. We got to be aware.
you can be aware, but
We
I'm
gotta
like
be
we
aware.
keep seeing that like it's like
We're banging our heads against. It's
because
disheartening to
it's a
I'm gonna
see
tell
it.
you
systematic
this.
problem because it's like as much as we're not the problem. Like this is what I'm saying. It's like, and so you can
Right.
tell your son, you can tell your daughter, don't do this, don't do that. But there's so many instances where it's like
It's out of our
you
control.
weren't a gangster, you weren't in the streets, you did all the right things, and yet you still got shot down in the streets because we're not the ones killing each other. You know what I'm
I want to
saying?
acknowledge some of the
Right. That's the part.
through and supporting, as Victoria G says, it's the tools that parents give their children and how to apply it. Aligning with the order within chaos, it is calmer in the eye of the storm. That's from Albert K. Nicole says we can't hide the truth about the history and how we navigate through society. Yes. And Aisha, you make a very good point here. It's not just Black boys, Black girls are affected and harmed as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Ooh, we
And
got
that's I
guys.
think that's what's most important. Again, as men, right? We're supposed to be leaders, and we're supposed to our women. We're supposed to love our women. Our women are supposed to love us back, right? But again, what we see now is that dissension is so much. We're at odds with each other when we brothers and sisters. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like that restoration it has to come back. We have to, get back into order to
Mhm.
where we can love one another. Again, like I said, I get mine out the Holy Bible, and it say, if we were to truly come back to these commandments, we wouldn't have black on black crime because we'll love our brother.
I
Uh,
I was just like, I don't like the term block on block crime because
right,
It exists.
it,
It's crime against
because people commit crimes against the people that are in their circle,
in their circle.
and so their
correct.
brown and white crime exists, brown on brown crime exists, like because it's
And
like
some of those numbers are actually higher than Black on Black.
and I'm saying
Definitely,
like
definitely.
I just like to be very like intentional with
Definitely.
words mean things, and I'm like,
So
oh my,
the reason I said that is because outside of the people that may be commenting, when this goes live somewhere else, YouTube, that's gonna be a comment. Well, what about you know what I'm saying? We could talk about
Yeah,
yeah.
we talk about George Floyd and Chauvin and this stuff, but then people are gonna say, but what about
But
what
that
about
doesn't negate the fact that like y'all should like other people shouldn't kill us either. Like
correct?
things can be like
true. And
both are wrong. Like
And
and
so
that
this,
doesn't give you a pass to kill us either.
Right.
Like even if that
right,
wasn't a real thing, which
because
it's not.
I think what you're also saying too is we have to hold each other accountable. And that's where I feel like we run into a big part of our issue is that if I hold you accountable, I don't support you. That's one of my biggest
bingo,
frustrations.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
no, I'm actually supporting you because I'm holding you accountable in love. Right?
Sure.
That's the part that we gotta stick to. That we gotta hold
right.
each other accountable in love.
I
I
had
feel
a
like we
brother that was upset with me because he smoked cigarettes, and I'm like, bro, that's killing you. Like, put it down. And
yeah.
he was like, man, you judging me, and I'm like, no, bro, I'm helping. I'm
Loving
trying to. Yeah, I love you, man. And if you keep doing that, that's what's going to kill you or cause cancer or whatever else comes with tobacco and all that other stuff.
everyone knows I'm not a good friend
Y'all
if
need my
you
wife?
I'm the type of friend I don't care about your short term happiness. Like if I see like, hey, this help but like in the long term, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. But I think what you brought up is so powerful, so meaningful, and I love that you are not just talking it, you're being about it, and you're walking in your purpose, and I think that is so dope. I don't want to end this conversation,
Right.
but we have Jade coming on next.
Nah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
But you know me, I love supporting Black business. I love supporting track business. Omar is an entrepreneur. He has a self care line. These goods, I actually that's what's on my lips right now, just a little chappy lip.
Yeah.
Um, and
We're treating them
also,
chap lips, baby.
let me tell you, the body butter, that's where it's actually at. Like y'all be pushing
Yeah.
body butter,
Hey,
and it's also
Hey, this
good.
all natural, baby. This all natural. It ain't no preservatives. It ain't no alcohols. None of that.
Y'all can Omar's known for cooking up abs. Y'all can get personal training on his account, on his website journeyglobal.com. Hopefully we have it in like the thing on the bottom. And he has music. He has a baby on the way. Like these so many things. Omar, let people know where they can find you on the social media, on your website, how they can support you. Before we let you go.
Again, as you've already said, journeyglobally.com is my website. You can, if you want to book any kind of goodness hour with me, any kind of consultation when it comes to fitness, hit me there. Social media everywhere, I'm Omar Goodness, and that's goodness with 2 D's. Yeah, my child on the way. My wife trying to sneak out because I wanted her to get on screen.
Oh,
last
hi.
but not least,
Craddock.
this one, my
I
black
want
girl.
to baby name this doggy.
Hold on, let me move this. Yeah.
Oh, we want to
Yeah.
see mom.
Yeah. Come on, sir face.
Guys, that was crazy.
We love Black Love. We love to see the Craddy family.
Yeah,
Omar,
definitely.
you already know. I love you all the way down.
I
Thank
loved
you
you since I first met you, did not, Kori?
Look, me and Omar I'm not gonna lie. Omar did not like me the first second he met me.
Fables, y'all. Them
I grew
fables.
on him, and now we gang.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us for Charcoal Summer. We are going to let you go.
yeah, thank y'all for having me.
We can't wait to see you back on the track, and we're gonna bring on Jake Stepter.
Yes.
All right, ladies.
You. Bye.
Thank you.
Live
Peace.
come out or does
I think they will, but I think you can click on. No, we can't do the
They
clicking.
gonna bump me. I seen Jaide. So Jaide, what's up?
Yeah, Jay's in here.
I seen her
Look at
comment.
their beautiful Black family.
Yes, Black Love.
I know.
Right. He's so awesome.
I was like, we gonna have to give Omar his own
Check
little
the
segment.
battery life. Oh, we're doing good on battery today.
Look at us, battery.
Okay. All right, we're gonna bring Jaide up. So while Jaide comes up, let me talk her up a little bit.
She's already come up.
Here she comes. Hey girl, hey.
Come on, Skin. Come on, hey.
Come on, bro. I love it.
I'll make you stand up for the whole fit because I don't. You know how Zoom interviews go. You don't know what's on
She
the
said
bottom.
no.
It's nothing going down at the bottom. We're here up.
From the
It's
top
the
up.
COVID meeting.
From the
Yes.
top up.
The COVID meetings. So Jaide is a fellow 400 meter diva,
Yes.
competitor / teammate. She went to that other USC.
The main USC, but okay.
Station USC. She is a 400 meter hurdler convert to the 400. So we'll talk a little bit about that. 2019 World Relay silver medalist, also a actor, model, and graphic designer. But the biggest thing that I didn't know, first of all, Jaide, how you doing? Thank you for
I'm
joining.
doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're hanging in.
Where are you right now?
I'm in California. I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay. All right. Thanks for
So
joining.
you can excuse the background. We literally just moved this month, maybe a couple of days ago. So
Yeah. It's very early over there, so thank you for doing this.
Oh, of course.
I was up on game yesterday because I was
so
like,
let me tell the story. So first of all, I've known you. We've been competing against each other for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Miss Sheffield, Latanya Sheffield. I've known that she's your coach. Miss Sheffield was one of the coaches on, I don't remember what team. I feel like she's been a coach on a few teams.
She's at Tokyo.
She's in Tokyo right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl, I didn't know that was your mama.
Never? This whole time?
Together all the time. I know she's your coach. I know Coach Sheffield. I know Jaide. I know she's your coach. I said,
and I could be like, Natasha, how do you know? And she was like, no, that's not. And I was like,
that's not her mom.
Oh, yeah.
Jaide, I have, because we're actually family because I know everyone, but I actually really, because I went to school with her sister. I was teammates with her sister, and so sometimes I call her Kayla, but like she comes from a family. They do this.
Yes. So as you can see, too, Coach Sheffield, Latanya Sheffield, broke records and defied expectations. She was also a 400 hurdler, and the American record holder at one point, right?
Yeah. I believe she actually broke it while she was in college.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. See, excellence is the standard here.
Yes, it is.
She got Olympian blood just like running through her veins. I always am like, parents, like y'all couldn't have hooked up. Y'all would have gave me something.
I think it's so funny because even when I went to the 2019 Pan Ams in Lima, that was my first time being on a team with her, that like we were both there together. And so many people didn't know that she was my mom. And I feel like to an extent, I kind of do that on purpose. because I do definitely distinguish, coach and mom. And when I'm at a track meet, I'm at work. So yeah, so there's that. But it's so funny because I don't think that we look alike at all. And so I feel like because of that, people don't really draw conclusions at all. So that's really funny that you didn't know.
No clue. So job well done. How long has she always coached you, or was it just after you graduated?
Yeah, so she was the coach at my high school and like with my club team and stuff. So I did USATF, like club track. And so she was the coach there and then at my high school. And then when I went to college, I, had my coaches in college. And then after I graduated, I went back and trained with her. So I've been training with her as a professional since 2016.
Okay. And so what, because we talked about this in terms of like husband being coach, right? Boyfriend being
Yes.
coach. How does it work? Mom not only being coach, but mom was mom, American record holder. Like excellence is the standard. How do we do this at the track and then go home and still be mom and daughter? And I don't hate you and want to fight you. Because let me tell you, my mom and dad, no,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But
so I need the tea.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say that because I've had that dynamic with her for so long, since I was in high school and even before that doing like youth track, it's been very natural to me and just kind of like, oh yeah, this is just how it goes, like you're just trained by your mom, like that's just what it is. And so that was kind of the standard set for me. So it's never really been super weird, but we've just been really good at, keeping coach and mom very separate. And so, because of all her accolades, because of her experience, and then just the way that she can inspire people and the way that she talks and all of that, it makes it so that I have 1000% trust in her as an athlete. And I feel like that's one huge thing that you have to have if you want to be successful with any coach. And so I think I actually have the benefit of knowing that there's literally nothing that she will do to try to sabotage me, to try to, not have my best interests at heart. And so, when she tells me to run these 500s, I'm like, I don't know about it, but I know she's not trying to come for me. I know it's probably a good thing.
But it's in love.
Yes, exactly. And then when we go home, she's really goofy and having fun and is like, okay, so when am I going to have grandkids? And I'm like, when you stop having goals for me, what do you mean? Coach?
Okay.
So, we play around and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we try to keep it pretty separate. And I think we've been really successful. I call her coach on the track and I call her mommy at home.
Oh, okay. I love that.
And I feel like we've both experienced your mom, and like your mom is actually like
The bomb.
I'm like, because I've always
your
said,
uncle too, because your mom's brother, he was the coach on the 2012 indoor team that I was on. So just excellence is the standard.
But like I feel like I've always said like I could get coached by LaTanya Sheffield like because of the vibe she has. And your uncle, he was the coach
Ron Sheffield.
Sheffield was the coach of my like first youth team. And I still what he would do is he would print out quotes and put it on your door.
Yeah, he did that in
I still have them. I still have them in my house, and it moves with me because I was like,
I imagine he did that for you too.
Yeah, I would say to an extent. I've never had a quote on my door, but I'll definitely get one. A little text message here and there. So he got all the quotes. He's on deck with the quotes for sure.
Love it.
I feel like both of them are just so good at inspiring.
Yes, they are. They really are motivating, inspiring. Your mom was even talking to me this year on the road with me, like coming back from mommyhood and like.
Love her.
Yeah.
This is about you, but like, and she knows that.
Yeah.
Girl, you're not done. You need to come back. You just had that baby, and
the thing is, she can say it because she's done it. And also, I just feel like my relation I have with my coach is like, I know my coach loves me down, and like, there's nothing he wouldn't do for me. And I'm like, to have your mom, like, I know, like, she's gonna fight for you every step of the way.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, here at Track Girl Summer, we like to bring the culture to track and field. So we're going to segue out of track and we're going to talk a little bit about Jaide, the person, because there's so much awesome things going on, right? So I don't know how you do it. I think I'm busy. I'm reading this stuff. So actor, model, graphic designer.
Booked and busy.
busy. You currently work for, was it Ruggably that you do their graphic design?
Yeah, it's Ruggable. I'm a senior graphic designer there.
Senior.
All while training for the trials in a parallelogram. Like, you also got married. But so I wanted to spend some time talking about this, right? Because I saw one of your posts on Instagram, 7 a.m. practice,
Yeah.
9 a.m. work. Then you lift on your lunch break on your balcony.
Hmm.
Then you work till 6 p.m. Then when you get off, you do some freelance work and make time for your husband and just life, period. Like,
I'm a hustler, baby.
Yeah, it definitely is a hustle. Things need to be on time. Luckily, I'm very organized and kind of stick to my schedule. But that's kind of what it's have to been for me. Like when I graduated from USC, I went pro, but I didn't necessarily get signed, and so it's like, well, hey, track isn't cheap. Like, who's going to pay for all these trips around the world that you go on? And that was me, and so I've had to work ever since. So honestly, I'm really blessed that I did get the job at Ruggable actually last year in the middle of the parallelogram. And and so I just have been working there for a year now. And just to be able to have something that has a steady income and benefits and all those different things, like such a blessing. So, I will make time for that because it allows me to, one, invest in myself and my dreams as an artist, but it also allows me to basically fund my dreams, as a track athlete. And so, you make it work if that's what you want to do, and you just figure out how to make it work.
you're doing so many things at once because Kori and I, and just in track in general, in sports in general, we talk about how much competing in sports is almost like you're living your dream, but you're also putting off the rest of your life the
For
longer
sure.
that you do this. Because we all know we can't run forever, and we
Hmm.
all we won't be able. That very few of us will be able to live off of this when we retire from this. So you're already started on your career. Excellence is the standard. Like, I'm not going to put this off anymore, but I can do both at the same time and be great at it. Uh,
Cause here's my thing. After a hard workout, and you are
Can't
400,
imagine.
and like my brain doesn't work. Like,
Exactly.
and so when I come home,
Brain
like
fog.
Bravo is like, girl, we ain't even got no more shows because I like to watch shows because I don't have to think.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to lay down and not think. And the fact that you go to practice and go straight to like your job, I have no idea because I know my body like needs time to like recover and just like in order for me to function and get ready for the next day because I'm gonna get killed again. So
Yeah.
how
Housewife.
I think honestly, when just kind of my personality or just, I don't know, but when I have to do something, when I know that there's a deadline or I know that there's something else that I have to do, I'm really able to just will myself and get it done. And how you guys said, excellence is the standard. So if I'm going to get it done, I don't want to get it done in a janky way or like, ooh, I just skirted by. Like, I want to get it done in the best way that I can. And so I would say honestly, like it's even helped out in training because I remember there were times that, you have short recovery and say maybe the recovery for certain runs is supposed to be, 6 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. But I'm checking the clock like, hey, I got to go. And I'm like, coach, can we cut this recovery to 90 seconds because I have to go. And so,
oh my god!
so,
I need every single second. I need every second.
What?
Yeah, so I mean that definitely sucks, but I feel like it's made me so much stronger because I've been able to do stuff that I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even think I'd be able to finish the line at cross the line with 90 seconds recovery, but now I know I could do so much more if my paycheck's on the line.
So what I'm hearing, and because I asked you how are you going to do it, and like you gave this long answer, but like to summarize, Jade is better than us. Jade is better than us.
That's
it. That's fine. Like I accept it. Like you said, actually, just better.
Not quite, but I figure it out. I'll say that I figure it out. It on paper it doesn't really make sense, but somehow I figure it out. So I'm really thankful for that.
Hey, hard work is easy work. Like
yeah, that's how you got to approach it.
My girl magic, like excellence. standard, all of the things.
Can we talk about the one thing that got me through the quarantine?
This wedding at the
Yeah.
Fairmont.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna
just
picture.
gorgeous. I hope we have some pictures
We
on.
do. I
have
made
some
sure
pictures
we had
on the
them.
lineup. First of all, I love that you walk down the aisle in your beautiful fro.
Thank you.
Through, and I appreciated. See, look at that.
Are we able to click in to like zoom in on?
Just gorgeous. Is there any way that we can make?
Oh no, we can't. Okay,
sorry.
never mind. We tested it out. I want to get into the clavicle, but it's fine.
Absolutely stunning, and
Thank you.
I appreciated it even more after reading your post about what it felt like, just the vulnerability of like cutting your hair and feeling exposed, but then growing into loving your hair, and I feel like we're sometimes pressured, not sometimes, we are pressured into walking down the aisle in this European slick look, and it's just like, but look at how beautiful this is.
Thank you.
Look at how stunning this is.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't the plan at first, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying because let me tell you something. Jay was like, first of all, you were able to zoom your wedding to different people, which I love. But then she was like, for those of you who weren't able to attend my wedding due to this panini. And it was like, she kept hitting us on Instagram, was like, and here's the venue, and here's our every day I'd be like,
live.
It was so good. It was such a beautiful and like intimate ceremony, but you could just talk about it because I loved it.
Tell us about your engagement story. Tell us a little bit about your husband.
And planning a wedding in a pandemic and having to.
Yeah, so we actually met, we both went to USC. We were in the same recruiting class. So we started dating in 2013. So we had been dating for a while. And he would always like come because he's from the East Coast. His name is Aaron. And so he's from the East Coast. So for certain holidays, he would actually come with our family because we were only driving to Arizona for the weekend versus it would take him all weekend to fly to the East Coast and then fly back home. So we got in the habit of him coming down to Arizona for Thanksgivings. And our family definitely does it big for Thanksgiving every single year, minus last year, but whatever. So we do that. And so he came down and what we started doing is called the Turkey Lounge. And so basically everybody, whoever has whatever kind of talents they have or poems or whatever it is, and they go and they basically just present their talents or just express their thanks or whatever. And it's like really fun and lighthearted. And sometimes it's really serious because, you know, just extended family, being able to feel that love, like people are really appreciative. So for the first time, he's always been talking for years that he wanted his parents to come down. And so for the first time they were going to come down, that was in 2018. And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to, you know, prepare something for the Turkey Lounge, you know, just recognize that my parents are here and this and that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, great. That sounds good. But when he goes into something, he's like in it 1000%. And so he's like on his iPad and doing all this stuff and making a slideshow, all these different things. And I was like, bro, it's not that serious. It's just, you know, get up there, say thank you and sit down. And so essentially he went up there. He was like, hey, Jaide, can you hold the slideshow for me? Like, as I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, for sure. So I went up there and it's called an acrostic poem. And basically it's like using the first letter of each line spells out something. And so he put together this poem.
Acrostic poem.
Yeah. And so it spelled out my first name with his last name. And obviously at the end, he asked for my hand in marriage. And you couldn't even hear me say yes because everybody in the room, it was like 60 people in there. Everybody screamed and said yes because they've been waiting on it. So there was.
We don't even need you to end. You gonna marry this man.
Yes, exactly. Like literally, he couldn't even get the words out. Like everybody was just so loud. That's not how the proposal's supposed to go. But it was really fun and it was awesome to have my family around. And he specifically planned it for that because he knows that I'm such a family person. And so he knew that's who I would want to be around. And then when we drove back home, he had planned a surprise party, like engagement party with all of my friends at my apartment, actually. So the whole thing, he handled it for sure. And so we were like, okay, cool. Like,
but he got any friends?
Yeah, actually, he has two brothers, and his first brother or his middle brother got married the year before us, and then his oldest brother just got married in May. So
that don't help me.
My cheeks, I'm smiling so much.
Right. That is so romantic, thoughtful, all of the things. Like I can't even. So was your family in on it, or was it a surprise to everybody?
My sister was in on it. I think my sister's actually the first person that he told that that was his game plan. So she had all the pictures on deck. And then both of my parents knew, and he actually asked them like for their blessing. We went to the Brussels Diamond League. It was a final, and that was his first time coming to a track meet, coming overseas, all of that. And so they were on the same flight back. And on that, 10-hour flight, he's like, "Hey, so by the way, I was thinking maybe I could marry your daughter." And they made him wait literally the whole flight all the way until they dropped him back off at his home in LA. They're so trifling for that.
You gotta make the young man sweat a little bit. I'm with it. I think that was the right move. I think that great sense of intuition and authority. This love, supreme, unconditional, Ace of Cups, divine. Yes,
Aw.
Alba, agreed. I
So
I love it.
So you get engaged and you're planning a wedding, and
The pandemic hits. Like, how did
Yeah.
we like navigate through that? Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
So we had originally planned to have this like big old wedding. He was trying to kind of keep it small, and I was like, I want to invite everyone. So 200 plus wedding
Yeah.
at a vineyard, and so we had everything planned out. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, okay, October we're good to go, because it was at that point January. And then we're like, all right, it's cool. It's March. Everything's shutting down, but it's cool. And then what was this, May, and we're like, all right, it's all good. And then we got to August, and we're like, okay, we need a refund at this point. And so we had to actually wait because we had put all our deposits down, and none of our main vendor, the venue, wouldn't actually give us a refund until 2 months before, and because everything was just changing so quickly. And so we had to literally wait until then. We couldn't plan anything else. We weren't really sure what we were going to do. Just the whole goal was to get your money back, because I've heard so many people who were not able to. And so luckily we were. And then at that point we sat and talked, and we're like, okay, well, should we postpone it, or like, what do you want to do? And after talking to family and also just talking to us too, it was just like, hey, we've been waiting a long time. We've been engaged for 2 years now. Like, we don't know when the pandemic is going to be over and when we can gather. So like, let's just do it. And so we decided to do it. And I was doing research and all that. Honestly, I was just looking for a place to like go on a trip, because I assumed that we weren't going to have it. And that's when I saw the Fairmont. I was like, oh, this will be super nice to take a really nice trip that weekend. And then it turned out that we were going to have the wedding. And then I called them and was like, hey, are you guys doing weddings? And they're like, actually, you're going to be the first one since we've reopened. And so that was cool. And then I talked to the wedding coordinator. She said that there could only be, they had like a 10-person maximum. And so it was like taking a 200 guest list to 10, like, really sucked. But it's
bad, but
yeah. Yeah, so it was so hard to tell my family, especially all the
invitation, but I guess I did the 10% cut.
yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
We got the Instagram photos.
I did,
The
and
Instagram
next
came
slide.
for our necks.
Yeah, so yeah, so that's what we did there. I had to tell, my extended but close family that, that they unfortunately weren't able to come. It was actually Ern's idea to have my grandmother officiate for us. So that was super cool. So we were able to ask her to be the officiant. And oh my gosh, she was beautiful. Like, nobody knew that this woman is 80 years old, like, handling it. It was her first time getting lashes, and she was so excited. After that, she's like, I've always wanted a tattoo. I'm like, okay, hold on now. So, but yeah, so it was just super special and like intimate. We were able to have, we were in the gazebo. And so instead of, us at the front and then everybody sitting at the back, there was only, 8 guests. So we just had everyone sitting around the gazebo, and everything was like inside. We ended up, we wanted people to still be involved and letting it be a really great experience for them. So then that's when we really invested heavily into the live stream, so people could see it, and so it could be a good memory. And from what I hear, it was like a reality TV show, HD, like someone was watching a movie. So that's the whole goal. That was all that we intended. So I'm happy it was a good experience for everybody. But it was so special. Afterwards, we had my mom put together like a surprise little. We thought it was just going to be a dinner, but she put together a whole surprise like reception type situation. Fun fact about Ron Sheffield is that he can sing and play the guitar, and he has a whole band. And he performed for us. My cousin sang for like the whole thing. It was amazing. It was like my pictures when we first walked into it. That's the one where my mouth is all the way open and got a champagne bottle, laughing. That's when we first walked into it and saw this huge surprise. And we had some of my family from Arizona drove up, so it was really special.
My eyes are over here like
Y'all gonna make a thug
she
like me
ruined
cry.
listen, she ruined my dreams telling me his brothers are already married. Like,
I'm so sorry about that.
You know something? Natasha sits there and I'm like, oh, literally, men are sliding in the Track Girl Summer IG account. He was trying to get to Natasha.
I'm sure they're trying to get to both of y'all.
Anyway.
They're trying to get to Natasha.
Anywho, back to Jaide. This is just I just love Black love and
her family coming together to make sure her date is perfect.
I like.
Yeah, no, they held it down for sure. Definitely.
We're still gonna make this day magical.
And it looks so.
I think you just gonna come from our necks on the social. And I'm sure you have even more. Still.
Yeah. Our photographer was amazing, and it was like very selfish of me to try to hold these to myself. So I decided I needed to share with everybody. But honestly, the hair, I had planned to, get my hair, pressed out, laid and curled and all this kind of stuff. And when it turned out that we were going to be going to San Diego, honestly, the hairstyle came because just logistically, it didn't make sense. I was like, I'm not going to pay for a stylist to come down.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I could do this myself. So I popped in a couple braids that morning. I did a wash and go, and I was like, all right, let's go for it. And it was more of an afro than curls that I had expected, but I was like, I'm good with it. Let's just go. And I'm so happy I did. I was so comfortable.
I love it.
And you don't have to worry about sweating out on the dance floor. But also, if you want a couple of natural hair tips, Jaide gives great tutorials on the socials.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. You do everything. So you mentioned earlier the actor, model, graphic designer. So tell us a little bit about your freelance work. That the content creation is on. I'm the two content people over here. I'd be like, I'm running out of creative juices. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So
hire you.
Oh, got you. Yeah, hit me up. You got my phone number now. But so I actually studied animation in college, and so that's kind of where I first started going into that. So I have a lot of background in doing video and digital and all that kind of stuff. And so honestly, that's fun for me to do. And so I think it's really fun to be able to have these social media outlets to be able to put together these types of content and everything and get creative and all of that. And so that's kind of where that part lies. But as far as the freelance type of work, of course, I do different, social media partnerships, but then also I work with the USA. I work with the
and behind the camera.
Yes, exactly, in front and behind. I work with the USA Track and Field Foundation doing graphics for them, and just like other people, I'll just do one-off freelance type of work. And so there's that part, and then the acting, modeling part is that I'm a SAG actress, and so I'll perform in different commercials and all of that.
Official. Excellence is just the standard, okay?
Natasha. Us.
But real casual.
No.
Real casual.
No. She told us she was better than us.
It was real. You didn't catch the casualness of it all.
No, because it's casual because it's nothing to her.
Okay, so listen, I would say that this is also another, how I said I haven't ever been sponsored. And I would say that this is actually a plus side of it because I am able to do these partnerships with so many different companies. I've done commercials with, Nike, Asics, Delta Airlines, Ford. I've been able to do commercials with all of these different companies, Samsung, all of that. And you're very limited if you have a sponsor. So
Nicole A, I couldn't agree with you more. Jaide needs to be spotlighted in Essence. I mean, these wedding photos but if you go check out her social media, her Instagram, you'll see all the greatness, all the beauty. Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I just realized on Instagram I'm at Jaide Steps. I think this is my Twitter that you guys have up here.
Yeah.
On Twitter, I only share the stuff that I've put on Instagram. So if you want everything direct, head over to Instagram at Jaide Steps.
I don't know what else. Like the excellence of it all.
And like she gives great track tips and training tips. Like, remember how she said she on her lunch break she goes on her balcony to lift weights. She also sets up a camera and films it for y'all and creates content. I like
doing yoga, the stretches, she just does it all. She just does it all. So tell us what's next. Are you training for any more meets this summer?
This summer I finished up actually a couple weeks ago in July, and so I think actually you were there at that track meet in Irvine or Mission Viejo, something like that.
Track meet.
Oh my gosh, it was so hot. Literally, I like ran off the track the second that the race finished. My feet were on fire. Like it was so hot. I haven't experienced that since I've been back home in Arizona. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But
ridiculous. But sorry.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, that was my last track meet, and so now, how I said, we just moved, so luckily I don't have to be on the balcony anymore. Every time I was so scared to like drop the weight bar because I didn't want it to go through the ceiling on somebody on the cars below us, and so now I'm able to weight lift on the ground, but gonna just be unpacking and trying to get our place together and all that. So I've been eating all the bad food and ice cream and all that.
I had a whole thing of ice cream last night while we were preparing for this. I was like, Kori,
as you should. As you should.
Eugene next summer, right?
Yeah.
And I know we said we're done talking about track, but I feel like we.
Oh yeah, we totally skipped over you converting from the 400 hurdles to the.
Like, for me, I'm a 400 hurdler. I hate the 400. Someone was like, "Hey, Kori, you can never hurdle again in your life, but like." You can be a 400-meter runner. I'd be like, and today's the day. I'm done with track and field. It's a different race. I don't like, and I know we're doing more things and it's over the same distance, but mentally, don't like it, Natasha. So how
are you not offending me?
But the thing is, I'll run a 4x4. No problem. But the open 4, no. So how did that even come about? How did you make that decision? Like, and how was that transition?
Yeah, no, so the races are totally different. They hurt different, they feel different, just everything is very different. I wouldn't say one is worse than the other because they both have their pros and cons. But either way, it was basically that, I was doing the 400 hurdles. That was going well, but, part of it is that we had that off year in, 2018, I think, where there was no championships or anything. And so I was like, well, hey, I need to work on my speed. I want to get stronger. And so we focused on the 2 and the 4. And so after doing that year, I went from being unranked in the 400 to then being ranked like 6th in the world. And that's when I went to Brussels and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, shoot, maybe I should, stay. And so then after that, I kind of just continued training there and all of that and, got the hang of it and everything. There's still some aspects that are a little bit new to me in the 400. And like learning the race plan and all of that. I got the 400 hurdles down pat, but the 400 I'm still learning and all of that. But yeah, so it kind of just made sense to transition. So,
and I feel like it, like at least me personally, I always saw you as someone like it made sense to me that you could do the 400 because I just remember in college, like you would always be like first race out when you'd be like I'm. A blistering 400 that would stand for weeks, and I'd be like, Jaide, like we just got started, like walking so fast. It would and it would happen like so many years, and I'd be like, Jaide's first race would be like so crazy fast, and then you're just like, and now I'm going to go the 400 hurdles, and I'd be like.
Pretty like to especially make that transition now or just a couple years ago basically, and then to be ranked so highly in the world. I mean, excellence is just the standard. I don't have anything else to say, but excellence is the standard, and I love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you. Gosh.
We appreciate you waking up extra early. Join us.
Man, it sucks because I'm so used to training early in the morning. So I'm like always up at, 6 o'clock now. And I'm just like, all right, well, here we go. And so I've been actually able to get some stuff done around the house and do other little projects and all of that. So yeah, it's been all right.
Excellence is the standard. Well, we thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. One last time, Jaide Steps on Instagram. Anything else you want to plug? We all about Black businesses here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just follow me on Jaide Steps on Instagram. I'm always doing different like giveaways and just all that kind of stuff. So, interact with me there, follow me, all that good stuff.
And do
So,
me
like
a
the
favor.
wedding photos.
Do me a favor. Tell your grandmother if she wants to go get tatted at, I'll go with her.
Corey, I'm not telling her that.
I'm ready to step with her into this tattoo salon. I'm about it.
I'll let her know, Corey.
She's a nut. Well, we love you, Jaide. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, love you guys too. Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this. This is such a cool platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We're bringing the culture. Thanks for bringing the culture today.
Yes, for sure.
Track has so many amazing personalities, and y'all don't even know.
That's
and they have so many amazing stories, and they're doing so many dope things.
The people, not the. Yeah, we'll talk about their performances, but we want to highlight the people.
And Jaide's like the sweetest, like most graceful person.
On the fact that I didn't know that was your mama, but
I was like, she is in the bloodline.
Ay. All right, Jaide. Bye. Thank you.
All right, bye, y'all. Have a good one.
Check the battery because I feel like we might have to push. We might have to.
Still have 20%.
Okay, so do you want to?
We got 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes. Okay.
Wow. Well, so we got 10 minutes, but it's been a great show. We covered a lot of things.
I feel like we can do like this little set because yesterday we were talking about mental health.
Yeah.
With athletes in Tokyo.
I'm gonna open the floor for any questions.
Oh, okay. Then let's do that, and we can talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done more research on it, anyways.
I've also some of you have been noticing that we're kind of like back and forth on the computer because we're trying to keep up with like what's happening, and we're simulcasting right now. So I see that there's some questions in the YouTube. And so I just want to say, we want you guys to interact with us here at FanFest. So yes, you'll be able to go and watch the live later on if you weren't able to make it here, but we want you all to come and interact with us in the FanFest while we're live. And then after, you'll be able to enjoy the replay on the YouTube. I guess I'll also take this time to say that I realize there's some technical difficulties with the tweets. We click the tweets on our end, but you can also click the tweets when they're on the screen for them to play for you.
Really?
I think that's what the producers told me. I hope I'm giving correct information.
People want to know when you're doing Potomac review.
Oh, Potomac.
I may have time to watch TV.
Y'all, this is a full-time job. We enjoy, but as you can see, like we're making a really big effort to make sure that we come with the real true tea. So we're having to do research, line up interviews, just line up all the things. So I will do, maybe when the games are over, maybe I'll do a Potomac review. But for now, this is our focus. This is the tea that we're bringing to you all. And we just hope that you're enjoying it. We hope that we're bringing the culture, but bringing factual information and, learning you all of our sport.
So do you want to, if people have questions, like they can drop them, and we're also like checking. I guess I didn't know that you were doing that, but now I'm doing it.
I got a couple of messages like, "What are you doing? Why are you in your?" I'm trying to see what you guys are saying because I want to make sure that we're keeping you guys happy.
So for the last like 5 minutes, you want to like answer some questions?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. What are you doing, Natasha?
that's what I'm replying to. That's what I was doing. I was checking to see what you guys are saying.
Oh, but I appreciate Aisha's great being like trying to troubleshoot. I love that.
Thank you, Victoria. We're doing listen, we're novices at this. Like we just like
you claim yourself. Like, I'm a professional journalist, investigative journalist.
Y'all, I was sleeping last night and my phone is pinging and I look at my phone. I said, Kori better take her ass to sleep.
I was up at 2 a.m, like talking to people in Tokyo. Like I was like, wait, CM's and like what's happening and what is Team USA doing? And they were feeding me information Shout out to my little mole in Tokyo.
We got a couple of moles
and I
on
was
the
like-
ground out there.
I was, because I don't know, I wasn't thinking I could, because we have a Google Doc, I could put it there, but I was like, I'll just text Natasha so I don't forget anything. And so I'm like just typing in data.
So for future reference, when you get midnight tea, drop it in the dock.
Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay? Like, what a... okay. They said, someone asked, but what about the people who had COVID before? Don't they still have it, like Delilah English Gardener? How does that work?
No, they don't still have it. So if you have had COVID, first of all, after 10 to 14 days, you're no longer contagious, is what they say. So I'm not sure what Japan is doing in terms of that, but because there were people that were even testing positive, like a month after having COVID, but supposedly after 14 days, you're no longer contagious.
Give me a second. I have information on that.
So if you've had COVID before, you should technically be recovered or past that 14 days to then be out of quarantine and allowed to be in the village.
And like, remember how I gave you guys the definition of close contact? It's not only the 15 minutes closer than 3 feet with no mask, it's also during the time that you are contagious. So that's 48 hours before you get symptoms or a positive test until the time...
at the end of your symptoms. That's I misstated that. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's the start. Yeah. And until the time of the positive, that's the range that they're saying that you can be contagious. And someone asked about, is the opening news segment going to start? I think so. I feel like we try to.
You like that flow? You like that flow? We try to.
And I can't guarantee like there's gonna be like a breaking news. Like today was just like
today was
a day. But I think we will try to start the show with some Tokyo news, and like as we get into like competition, the format of our show will change because we'll be reporting about the actual events happening in Tokyo. But we will also like, don't worry, baby, we won't give you that tea. We gonna keep you hydrated.
We gonna spill the tea.
We gonna
sip a little.
We gonna do what?
A little olipop.
So English and Delilah got COVID like
way before
trials. They got it and like had to come back, train through. That is why Delilah's first race was trials, because like she had COVID twice. 2 of them things. Someone said something else and I don't.
You guys like the news segment? This makes me happy to know that you guys are appreciating what we're doing. This one?
Yeah, what do you think about why mental health is so taboo in our culture? Just wanted your thoughts on it. I think one of the things is when you say culture, do you mean, I think there's 2 cultures you could talk about, because in like Black culture, I feel like Christianity is the backbone of our community, and so I think that there's a lot of like, let's just pray it away, or and not looking to outside sources for like, I just feel like in the Black community there's like this pushback against getting mental health help. But I also think in the athletic community there's a culture against mental health, because you're told like I always say this, it's so funny to me, because like there's all this quotes like mental toughness is 99% of the game, and I tell athletes like, but how much time do you actually spend on your mental health, on your mental toughness? Like, you spend all this time working on your body.
Those things are also true, and that question is actually my mission in terms of why I'm studying clinical mental health, is that it is taboo in our Black communities, but also our athletic communities, and those are the 2 communities that is literally my mission, and the communities that I intend to impact. The sports community, because we joke and say that we're superheroes, but we are superheroes with humans with issues, and our minorities that, as you so eloquently put, that a lot of us are rooted in Christianity, and a lot of it is also access, and because we just don't have access to it,
or it's professionals that look like us, that understand us.
That look like us, it's hard to encourage something or believe in something that we don't even have the access to. Yesterday I mentioned how someone said, being depressed is a luxury. Like, some of us we just gotta survive, and so I'm aware that it's even a privilege for me to be able to access mental health professionals, because some people just can't afford it. And so I think a lot of it is, yes, we're rooted in Christianity, and we're rooted in it being sometimes voodoo or that, but also there's just not much information
Yeah.
out there about it, and what you don't know,
Yeah.
you can't tap into.
And I think it's like athletes. Like I call myself the queen of compartmentalization. Like it is a skill, and it's probably not healthy, but like it works until it's gonna work until it doesn't work. But like I remember in college, I broke up with my boyfriend, and I told myself I scheduled when I was gonna cry about it because I was like, you have a physics piece set due tomorrow. You don't have time to cry about this. Like you have to do your homework, and like you have time
And we
to feel later.
normalize that. We normalize that a
Because
lot.
here's the thing, I'm not going to get a bad grade because of some guy.
But here's the thing, I'm gonna cry about it, but I'm gonna also get it done.
Yeah,
There's that
and like
part too.
and I will say I had an amazing practice because instead of dealing with things, I just put it into I killed that workout the next day.
Same. But we've now killed the time.
Yeah,
we have hit 2 hours.
I want to. Here's what I'm gonna do because I see questions still rolling in. And I told myself this in my sleep. But if
Come
you
over
have
to the Twitter and talk to us.
come to Twitter
Track
and talk
Girl
to us,
Summer.
and like Natasha and that, I'll put a question box on our IG. So if you guys want questions, and we'll try to get to them either here. Question of the day. We either get them in Instagram stories or on the show. But thank you guys so much for coming. This is a good show.
Thank you for coming, co-host.
I came here twice. I forgot, guys. I forgot my shoes. Drove all the way to Natasha's back. Came back for them. Let me pull up. We have an outro. Remember, guys? And
We're trying to be official, y'all.
I don't even see it now.
We are
Gosh darn it. Where is it? Like, it's something like, thank you for coming to Trap Girl Summer. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow us everywhere: Twitter, IG, Facebook. Follow Trap Girl Summer on Instagram, YouTube, and now Twitter. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. And remember, no matter what time of the year it is, it's always Trap Girl Summer.
Trap Girl Summer.
Trap Girl Summer.
Bye, y'all.
I hate it so much. We had a good time today. I love it.
We did.
That was a
That was a bomb show.